Welcome to the Awakening Table. We are Calliope and Petros, and we created this channel as a means to share our experience of going through the dark night of the soul currently, and doing this through open, raw discussion at the dinner table. We do this knowing that others are going through it, and we hope sharing our experiences may help you with your journey.
If you enjoy our videos and content, please show us some love by hitting like and subscribe and the notification bell to be notified when a new video is out. Thank you. And today we'll be talking about feeling down and scared. It's okay to, it's part of all the process.
That's it, get it out.
It's part of the process.
Okay. Oh boy, you know what? Being scared. As anyone going through it out there at the moment will back me up on this, and I know you will too.
Yes.
It is arguably one of the scariest, if not the scariest thing you'll go through, a dark night of the soul. For most people. Some people actually have a pleasant dark night of the soul, apparently. I'm yet to meet one, and I'm yet to go through a pleasant dark night of the soul. But, or apparently some people do. Were you scared?
Oh my gosh, I had some weird things that happened to me.
You want to hear this? You think you're scared?
No, I've done some really weird things.
Wait till you hear this.
I don't know, it's because of the defense mechanism or just my character alone, or just the way I behaved. My dad's witnessed it. He witnessed it. But the funny part that he did laugh about it the next day, so made me feel a bit better. I won't tell you the story, but basically part of that experience when I was feeling scared, I realized, and my dad was there, as I said, I realized maybe it was part of abandonment sort of thing, because my parents separated when I was 15, and during that time I was when I was 15 years old, I was exploring, having fun, and I never really told my friends about the separation of my parents. So maybe during that time I probably didn't go through the feelings and communicate with my siblings and all that. So as years went by, happened this year, that experience, so I really, when that happened, I had to pause myself and realize, oh, maybe this is something I didn't deal with back then, and my dad's there. So and that's when I realized I had to work on that. So yeah.
What were some of the things that the scaredness or the fear caused you to do?
I was I became a warrior type of person, because I was because I felt like there was how do you explain it? It felt like there was entities outside, or spirits or whatever, invading my space. So I was I had a knife in my hand. I was ready to, challenge them. My dad watched me do this. And he was like, "What are you doing with the knife?" And I was like, "No, it's all right, Dad. It's okay. I've got this, you rest." And then, but I was not sleeping, because I was I had experienced something that I never experienced before. And I was ready to face it. And my dad's like, "If I see you," he took the knife off of me, and then after that I was being sneaky, because before he took that off me, he's like, "Calliope, please, I'm gonna take the knife off you. If I see you with the knife, I'm gonna take it off you." So I went back in the kitchen and grabbed another knife, ready to challenge whatever was out there. And then when my dad saw that, he grabbed the knife off me and he said, "Okay, that's it. I'm going home." So when my dad left, I was I was about to chase him in the corridor and to his car, and then I realized, no, leave it, because the vibration or the frequency, all that kind of thing was not good. So I didn't want to make it worse by chasing him and being controlling in a sense. So I had to stop it, and then realized that I had to face what I was feeling or experiencing. And then I realized that I was basically forcing my dad to stay in my house, because I was frightened of something, but at the same time I was ready to challenge it. But that's when I came to realization that there's something that I need to deal with. It's got to do with my dad. So it's Yeah. And that was what I was scared of, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Was there anything else that so for me, I know for me going through it at the moment, I know that the fears the fears are irrational, but I also have to accept that they're there. But a lot of the scaredness is, what if I'm alone and something happens to me and I can't cope or handle it? And it's that
Mm.
it's that that's and it's like, what does that mean? I've been by myself, things have happened, and I've gotten through them fine. So why do I harbor this fear all of a sudden?
Mm.
And you know what? I've done some shadow work on myself, and I figured out a few things. I'm just trying to work out, how do I get through it now?
Mm.
Because it's not enough just to figure out what's going on. You've still got to figure out, how do I fix it or get through it?
Mm.
And that sometimes can take time.
Mm.
But it's also remembering that when you're going through this dark night of the soul, you are stripped bare and raw, in the barest and rawest you'll ever be. And what you once identified as, and we'll talk more about ego and the identity in another video, but what you once identified as, and that was certain, and gave you structure and purpose and meaning, no longer is.
Mm.
But you haven't connected with anything else that gives you a sense of stability and purpose and meaning and all of that. And when you're in this void and you're feeling by yourself, because it is a very personal journey, right? Because
Yes,
it's
very
inside.
deep. Yeah.
When you're feeling that and you're raw and bare and lost and disconnected, and again, we'll talk about those things in more detail in other videos, you're going to feel scared. Simple as that. And somewhere in amongst all of that, you've got to patiently go through it and do the work that you're meant to do.
So yeah, like for me, when I was feeling scared and having my dad there at the time, it actually taught me to notice why I was feeling like that. And in a way, like he was there and I realized that. But the next day, came back, he gave me the knife and started laughing. And I was like, that's pretty cool, my dad. Because, I had a missing gap of him being around, and then having him to be there for me, even though, I was like trying to force the situation. But at the same time, I had to feel it and understand it and go through it. And then seeing that he was being supportive in it,
Yeah.
also, probably fear of abandonment, but and then at the end result, I found out that, that I'm not alone and that I'm grateful that I have my father there, even though he was missing during those times when I was a teenager. So
Another interesting realization about the scaredness that we're going through is, I started this line of questioning with myself one day. I said, what is it you're scared of? And I sort of thought to myself, oh, whatever it was at the time, being helpless and alone, or being alone and ending up helpless towards something. And I sort of said to myself, well, you've been alone before. You're alone pretty much now every day, even though I live with my parents, my elderly parents. We don't see each other that much for the most part of it. I go out and do my own things, and I've been in difficult situations and gotten through them. And this line of thinking kept going and going and going until I asked myself, who is actually scared? When you come to the realization, it's the very element of you that is dissolving or breaking away or has broken away that's scared, i.e., the ego self, the part of you that identified as all the external things that you were or had or were doing in your life, which isn't our true self. I don't want to sound guru-ish here, but really, our true self is the observer of all of these shenanigans. It's the one in the shenanigans that's scared, not the one observing the shenanigans. And does anyone ever say shenanigans anymore?
No.
I don't know. No?
I have not heard that.
I'm bringing it back. Hashtag shenanigans.
Okay, that was funny. I was laughing in my head, but I was like, wait for you to say something like that. Okay,
sure. But our fears are based on stories we've told ourselves, generated by the part of ourselves that isn't the real self. It's the
persona.
persona, exactly. Exactly.
The mask that we know.
Yeah.
That we put on.
And it's also getting carried away with what I call futurizing. We create this story of what the future is going to be like and believe it, even though it does not exist and doesn't have to exist. You know, so it's that part of ourselves that's dissolving, and the ego, which we'll cover more, as I said, won't go without a fight. It'll be the most epic battle you'll ever have in your life. But that's what's scared, because it knows it's going. In fact, it's gone, but it's still hanging around until it's fully gone, if that makes sense, for a lack of other terminology there.
But do we fully need to get rid of ego? Like, we might need some traces of it, but I'm not saying that
hang on, we'll cover that in another video.
All right.
Let's not get carried away.
Okay.
But that's what causes the fear. It's the association with the false self and with all the conditioning that we've been brought up on, right? And as we know, nature, life is not linear. It's everywhere and this way and that way and all sorts. And so as we break away from the linear thinking and the social conditioning and familial conditioning, you know, it's going to feel unstable, which makes us feel even more scared. So, you know, the scaredness is there. Acknowledge it. It's okay. It's part of the process. You know, find what works for you to try and ease that fear. Is it talking to someone? Is it taking a bath? Is it going for a walk? Is it, you know, doing some journaling, which is very, very powerful work? You know, what is it for you?
For me, like, I never used to journal before, but during this period, like, I started buying like these journaling books and I started writing. And then I was like, then I found like some affirmations that I was working on. So I'd sit outside, write that every morning, and then like try to program my brain to use, you know, positive affirmations. And then there was a stages, you know, I have some stages where I'll put it aside because it's like a new routine for me. So to get in the habit of new routines, like, you got to put the effort. And sometimes you easily are sidetracked because of what you're going through, and maybe because you're used to a certain way. As you keep progressing, you will change those habits. So it takes time to do that. And as Lao Tzu says, it takes about 60 to 100 days to change a habit. So I tried doing like Tai Chi as well in the mornings, like 5 minutes of it. And and that lasted, past the 60 days. So and then, you know, and then you get your days where you like, you go backwards, and then you, until you really get into that routine. So it doesn't happen overnight, but it does get there. So
definitely. And it's, you know, remember to be kind to yourself. There's no shame in all of this. There's no shame in feeling scared or even expressing it and sharing it with someone. You know, get the support that you need, and be kind and patient with yourself. Kindness is a big thing. Patience, bloody patience, is critical. You know,
compassion for yourself, compassion for others. I mean, that's all build up as you go through your, especially with the journaling, it really does help. It's not for everyone, but like, maybe drawings for you, maybe painting, maybe riding a scooter, riding a bike.
Correct. And, you know, you'll be tempted to judge your fear and say, well, this is irrational, this is silly, this is nonsense. Don't judge it, because it's there for a reason. Even if it is an irrational scaredness or fear, it's there for a reason. It's serving a purpose. It's giving you an insight into yourself that you wouldn't otherwise have seen if you didn't experience scaredness. So go easy on yourself. Remove judgment. It's not about judging. It's not timing. It's not a competition. It's nothing. It's your journey to breaking away from the old and the inauthentic, having a spiritual, existential cleanse, and coming through it a better person and living a more congruent life, better for yourself and better for others as well.
And it's funny, like through the scary moments, you find like moments that will benefit you. Like we were just talking about journaling, you know, walking, Tai Chi, whatever. Maybe it's like philosophy, poetry, you know, that kind of thing. So you actually find yourself a little bit more as you go through these scary moments. So,
I've at
yeah.
times when I'm feeling scared, like a couple of days ago, I was sort of sitting outside and I just felt a little bit scared and vulnerable. So I just started laughing at it.
Yeah,
Just
laughing at it. Yes,
laughing.
laugh at,
If
even
my
at
if
himself.
my neighbours were watching, they'd be thinking this guy needs to be put away. You know, he's just laughing at himself.
Yeah,
But you know what? You just laugh at it. It's a
yeah,
great way to break that pattern of scaredness.
yeah.
It's not ignoring or denying the scaredness, but it's stopping yourself from getting caught up in the stories that scaredness can produce or that your
Yes,
mind can produce to protect you from the
yes.
scaredness. Right? You
Mm,
don't need protection from the scaredness and the other emotional symptoms.
mm,
You just need to experience them, and you'll get better and better at it as you go
mm,
along. And then take away and learn from that. You know what's behind it all.
mm. But
So
definitely laughing is the best. Like
yeah,
laugh at yourself, you know, even if the things that you don't like about yourself, just laugh about it.
correct.
Yeah. Mm,
You know, 'cause there'll be times where you just don't know what to do. You don't have the answers yet because you're not going to have the answers on call or when you want them. The
mm,
answers will come when they're meant to come. So in the meantime, have a laugh. It's better than the alternative.
yeah. What do they usually say? Is like, what's worse that can happen? What's best that can
So
happen?
we often hear people saying, "What's the worst that can happen?" And I've recently had brought to my attention that that's quite a negative comment, right? What about if we turned it around to help our brain focus on better things? Instead of saying, "What's the worst that can happen?" Ask yourself, "What's the best that can happen?"
Mhm.
And work with it.
Mm.
Um,
Because we're always telling ourselves these lame or scary or paranoia that we built up in just a story that we make up in our own minds. So,
and a lot of it is our own made up stories.
mm,
That's the irony of it all.
mm.
The majority of the scary stuff that we're scared is stuff that we've made up in our head.
But maybe through these stories, it makes you might come to the root of what you're actually scared of, and then you face
Yeah,
it.
because as
So,
humans, we do work through a narrative process.
mm,
So look for the meaning in the narrative rather than what's on the surface.
mm,
Is what I'm suggesting and what I'm trying with myself as well. Um,
mm,
so hopefully that helps. You know,
mm,
hopefully if you're going through this now and you're feeling the scaredness, the fear, hopefully this has helped a bit. You're not alone. Um, and it's okay. It's part of the process.
mm,
That's what we really want to drive home.
mm.
You know, allow it to come through. Manage the best you can. Be kind and patient with yourself. You know, and in time it will pass. This too shall pass, as they say.
Yeah, we pass. And
Definitely.
believe you me, like for this journey, maybe it started like years ago, but I think throughout the 3 years for me, it's been like that long, like and still ongoing. So I'm not saying that I'm still going through the scared moments. I think I've gone past that.
Yeah.
And that it's okay. That's gone. There's no race. There's no competition. Just pace yourself and yeah, experience it and embrace it because everything's a lesson. And then it helps you really grow and you learn more about yourself and you learn to appreciate yourself more. So,
What about you? How have you dealt with in a positive way, preferably? If you've got a positive way that you've managed to deal with your scaredness or manage it, let us know in the comments below. You never know who might read it that needs it. But hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I think that's about it.
yeah, that's about it.
If we think of anything else, we'll just do another video. That's the beauty of technology.
And if you experience any scary moments like I did, let us know. I would like to hear it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
We'll like to hear it. Yeah.
We will create more platforms for you to reach out to us soon. We're getting there, slowly but surely. As we've said, one foot in front of the others. chipping away bit by bit.
And thank you for your support, and make sure you put a like and subscribe, and definitely write a comment. We would like to hear from you.
Absolutely. Thank you heaps. Peace be with you. Cheers.